Welcome back, dear listeners. This is Folks and Fairies, stories read by Miss Morgan, Part 2 of Beauty and the Beast, by Jeanne-Marie LePrince de Beaumont, 1756. His children came round him, but instead of receiving their embraces with pleasure, he looked on them, and holding up the branch he had in his hands, he burst into tears. "Here, Beauty," said he, "take these roses, but little do you think how dear they are like to cost your unhappy father," and then related his fatal adventure. Immediately the two eldest sat up lamentable outcries, and said all manner of ill-natured things to Beauty, who did not cry at all. "Do but see the pride of that little wretch," they said. "She would not ask for fine clothes as we did, but no, truly Miss wanted to distinguish herself. So now she will be the death of our poor father, and yet she does not so much as shed a tear." "Why should I?" answered Beauty. "It would be very needless, for my father shall not suffer upon my account. Since the monster will accept one of his daughters, I will deliver myself up to all his fury, and I am very happy in thinking that my death will save my father's life, and be a proof of my tender love for him." "No, sister," said the three brothers. "That shall not be. We will go find the monster, and either kill him or perish in the attempt." "Do not imagine any such thing, my sons," said the merchant. "Beast's power is so great that I have no hopes of your overcoming him. I am charmed with Beauty's kind and generous offer, but I cannot yield to it. I am old and have not long to live, so can only lose a few years, which I regret for your sakes alone, my dear children." "Indeed, father," said Beauty, "you shall not go to the palace without me. You cannot hinder me from following you." It was to no purpose, as they could all say. Beauty still insisted on setting out for the fine palace, and her sisters were delighted at it, for her virtue and amiable qualities made them envious and jealous. The merchant was so afflicted by the thoughts of losing his daughter that he had quite forgot the chest full of gold. But at night when he retired to rest, no sooner had he shut his chamber door than to his great astonishment he found it by his bedside. He was determined, however, not to tell his children that he was grown rich, because they would have wanted to return to town, and he was resolved not to leave the country. But he trusted Beauty with the secret, who informed him that two gentlemen came into his absence and courted her sisters. She begged her father to consent to their marriage and give them fortunes, for she was so good that she loved them and forgave them heartily all their ill usage. These wicked creatures rubbed their eyes with an onion to force some tears when they'd parted with their sister, but her brothers were really concerned. Beauty was the only one who did not shed tears at parting, because she would not increase their uneasiness. The horse took the direct road to the palace, and towards evening they perceived it illuminated as at first. The horse went of himself into the stable, and the good man and his daughter came into the great hall, where they found a table splendidly served up, and 2 covers. The merchant had no heart to eat, but Beauty, endeavoring to appear cheerful, sat down to the table and helped him. "Afterwards," thought she to herself, "Beast surely has a mind to fatten me up before he eats me, since he provides such a plentiful entertainment." When they had supped, they heard a great noise, and the merchant, all in tears, bid his poor child farewell, for he thought Beast was coming. Beauty was sadly terrified at his horrid form, but she took courage as well as she could, and the monster having asked her if she came willingly. Yes," she said, trembling. The Beast responded, "You are very good, and I am greatly obliged to you. Honest man, go your ways tomorrow morning, but never think of coming here again." "Farewell, Beauty." "Farewell, Beast," answered he, and immediately the monster withdrew. "Oh, daughter," said the merchant, embracing Beauty, "I am almost frightened to death. Believe me, you had better go back and let me stay here." "No, father," said Beauty in a resolute tone. "You shall set out tomorrow morning, and leave me to care and protection of Providence." They went to bed, and thought they should not close their eyes at all night. But scarce were they laid down when they fell fast asleep, and Beauty dreamed a fine lady came and said to her, "I am content, Beauty, with your good will, this good action of yours in giving up your own life to save your father's shall not go unrewarded." Beauty waked and told her father her dream, and though it helped to comfort him a little, yet he could not help crying bitterly when he took leave of his dear child. As soon as he was gone, Beauty sat down in the great hall and fell a-crying likewise. But as she was mistress of a great deal of resolution, she recommended herself to God, and resolved not to be uneasy the little time she had to live, for she firmly believed Beast would eat her up that night. However, she thought she might as well walk about until then, and view this fine castle, which she could not help admiring. It was a delightful, pleasant place, and she was extremely surprised at seeing a door over which was written, "Beauty's apartment." She opened it hastily and was quite dazzled with the magnificence that reigned throughout. But what chiefly took up her attention was a large library, a harpsichord, and several music books. "Well," she said to herself, "I see that they will not let my time hang heavy upon my hands for want of amusement." Then she reflected, "Were I but to stay here a day, there would not have been all these preparations." This consideration inspired her with fresh courage, and opening the library, she took a book and read these words in letters of gold: "Welcome, Beauty, banish fear. You are queen and mistress here. Speak your wishes, speak your will. Swift obedience meets them still." "Alas," said she with a sigh, "there is nothing I desire so much as to see my poor father and know what he is doing." She had no sooner said this when, casting her eyes on a great looking-glass, to her great amazement, she saw her own home, where her father arrived with a very dejected countenance. Her sisters went to meet him, and notwithstanding their endeavors to appear sorrowful, their joy, felt for having got rid of their sister, was visible in every feature. A moment after, everything disappeared, and Beauty's apprehension at this proof of Beast's complaisance. At noon she found dinner ready, and while at table was entertained with an excellent concert of music, though without seeing anybody. But at night, as she was going to sit down to supper, she heard the noise Beast made, and could not help being sadly terrified. "Beauty," said the monster, "will you give me leave to see you sup?" "That is as you please," answered Beauty, trembling. "No," replied the Beast. "You alone are mistress here. You need only bid me gone if my presence is troublesome, and I will immediately withdraw. But tell me, do not you think me very ugly?" "That is true," said Beauty, "for I cannot tell a lie. But I believe you are very good-natured." "So I am," said the monster. "But then, besides my ugliness, I have no sense. I know very well that I am poor, silly, stupid creature." "'Tis no sign of folly to think so," replied Beauty, "for never did fool know this, or had so humble a conceit of his own understanding." "Eat then, Beauty," said the monster, "and endeavor to amuse yourself in your palace, for everything here is yours, and I should be very uneasy if you were not happy." "You are very obliging," answered Beauty. "I own I am pleased with your kindness, and when I consider that, your deformity scarce appears." Yes, said the Beast. "My heart is good, but still I am a monster." "Among mankind," says Beauty, "there are many that deserve that name more than you, and I prefer you, just as you are, to those who, under human form, hide a treacherous, corrupt, and ungrateful heart." "If I had sense enough," replied the Beast, "I would make a fine compliment to thank you. But I am so dull that I can only say, I am greatly obliged to you." Beauty ate a hearty supper, and had almost conquered her dread of the monster, but she had like to have fainted away when he said to her, "Beauty, will you be my wife?" She was some time before she dared answer, for she was afraid of making him angry if she refused. At last, however, she said, trembling, "No, beast." Immediately the poor monster went to sigh, and hissed so frightfully that the whole palace echoed. But Beauty soon recovered her fright, for Beast having said in a mournful voice, "Then farewell, Beauty," left the room, and only turned back now and then to look at her as he went out. When Beauty was alone, she felt a great deal of compassion for poor Beast. "Alas," said she, "'tis thousand pities anything so good-natured should be so ugly." This is the end of Part 2, Beauty and the Beast, by Jean-Pierre LePrince de Beaumont, 1756. Join us next time for Part 3.